Hello, and thank you for joining me in the presentation today about our provincial pathways to immigration in Newfoundland and Labrador. My name is Sophia Solomon, and I'm an Immigration Program Development Officer with the Office of Immigration and Multiculturalism with the Department of Immigration, Population Growth and Skills in the Government of Newfoundland and Labrador. We administer provincial immigration programs and provide information to potential applicants on ways they can immigrate to Newfoundland and Labrador. The Office of Immigration and Multiculturalism offers two economic immigration programs that facilitate a pathway to permanent residency. The first is the Newfoundland and Labrador Provincial Nominee Program, or the NLPNP. Under this program, we have skilled worker, international graduate, express entry skilled worker, international entrepreneur, and international graduate entrepreneur categories. The Atlantic Immigration Program, also known as AIP, has categories based on the tier level of the job offer that you receive. So that is Tier 0, Tier 1, Tier 2, 3, and Tier 4. The National Occupation Classification is now moved to a NOC 2021 version, and there are some changes due to this on the NLPNP and the AIP, where some positions have become eligible and others have become ineligible. So the 2016 NOC skill level structure, which was NOC 0, A, B, C, and D, is now replaced by a 6-category system called tier categories. That's for training, education, experience, and responsibilities that's required to work in an occupation. So now it is Tier 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and the NOC skill level will be called tier category. So the 4-digit codes are now 5-digit codes, and some occupations may change to a different tier category in this new system. This is what the NOC 2021 tier categories look like. So Tier 0 is management occupations. Tier 1, occupations that usually require a university degree. Tier 2, occupations that usually require a college diploma, apprenticeship training of 2 or more years, or supervisory occupations. Tier 3 is occupations that usually require a college diploma, apprenticeship training of less than 2 years or more than 6 years of on-the-job training. Tier 4 is for occupations that usually require a high school diploma or several weeks of on-the-job training. And Tier 5 is occupations that usually need short-term work demonstration and no formal education. So what is the Newfoundland and Labrador Provincial Nominee Program, or the NLPNP? It's an economic immigration program designed to assist international workers and skilled immigrants and their families to live and work in Newfoundland and Labrador. Applicants must meet certain criteria, which includes having a full-time job offer from a Newfoundland and Labrador employer or be an entrepreneur, meet the eligibility requirements, intend to live in the province permanently, have enough savings to establish yourself and your family in the province, and possess English or French language capabilities to perform the job duties. So we're going to dive into the express entry skilled worker category, which requires a job offer that is full-time, falls under Tier 0, 1, 2, or 3, and at least 1 year with the possibility of extension at the time of the application. So you do require 1 year of previous work experience in Tier 0, 1, 2, or 3, which must be obtained over 12 months, and work experience while a full-time student in Canada does not count. However, work experience outside of Canada in your home country does count. All applicants must have a valid profile in IRCC's Express Entry pool before the application to our office. Canadian post-secondary degree or diploma or an ECA must be shown. You must have a valid work permit or a JVA, which is a job vacancy assessment that your employer will require you to get if you don't have a work permit, or a postgraduate work permit. You must intend to reside in the province permanently. You must score a minimum of 67 over 100 on our PNP point assessment grid for Express Entry. Language testing is required for the stream, but there is no PNP processing fee. You're looking at a PR processing time of 8 months with the federal government and 25 business days with our office, and this application is submitted online. Next is the skilled worker category. You would need a full-time job offer at a tier level between 0 to 5, so essentially any level. It should be at least a 1-year contract with the possibility of extension at the time of application. You would again need to have a valid work permit or JVA and intend to reside in the province permanently. Language testing is required for tier 4 and 5 occupations with the CLB4 that is a minimum requirement in each testing category. There is no provincial processing fee, and the processing time with the federal government is 16 months, and the application is submitted online. However, postgraduate work permit holders are not eligible for the stream. You could apply through the express entry category or the international graduate category, which we're going to talk about now. So for the international graduate category, the job offer requires to be full-time in tier 0, 1, 2, or 3. If it's a tier 4, only in-demand occupations are accepted. The contract has to be at least 1 year with the possibility of extension at time of the application. You must meet knockout employment requirements and have a Canadian post-secondary degree or diploma. Intend to reside in the province permanently and show sufficient settlement funds. A postgraduate work permit is required. Language testing for tier 4 in-demand occupations only, and minimum CLB4 in each testing category. If you're a MUN or CNA graduate, and if you're not working in your field of study, you must be working in an occupation where the NOC code requires post-secondary degree. If you're a graduate from another province, you must work in your field of study in the province for 1 year prior to applying to the NLPNP. There is no processing time. There is no processing fee for this category. The processing time is 16 months again, and the application is submitted online. Next, we'll talk about the business immigration categories. We have international entrepreneur and international graduate entrepreneur. So the international entrepreneur, you need to be ages 21 to 59, provide business plan with supporting financial documentations verified by a recognized professional third-party service, have a minimum Canadian high school diploma or an ECA, intend to permanently reside in the province while owning and actively managing a local business that has potential to create significant economic benefit to Newfoundland and Labrador. You must show $600,000 in unencumbered net business and personal assets that can be readily transferred to Canada, and be able to invest $200,000 to establish a business in Newfoundland with a minimum 33.3% ownership of $1 million equity investment. You must show you're able to hire locally and in positions relative to the business, and the business should be for a for-profit entity with the primary purpose of earning profits through sales of goods and services. You must show minimum 2 years of work experience actively managing and owning a business in the last 5 years, or 5+ years experience in senior business management in the last 10 years. Language testing is required, and you need to show minimum CLB5. For international graduate entrepreneur, you need to be at least 21 years of age, provide a business continuity plan with supporting financial documentation recognized by professional third-party service, complete a degree or diploma at MUN or CNA within the past 2 years, hold a postgraduate work permit, intend to permanently reside in the province again, same as the international entrepreneur. The main difference is the investment, where there is no investment required. And again, the stability is the same as the international entrepreneur. And for the work experience, you need to show minimum 1 year of continuous experience in actively managing and owning the business with a 33.33% minimum ownership. Language testing is required, and we need a minimum CLB7. So that was the NLPNP. Now we're going to talk about the Atlantic Immigration Program, or the AIP. The AIP is an employer-based program that helps employers in addressing skill gaps and labor market needs. This new program was launched due to the success of the pilot program. So the employers must first apply to become designated. So the workers would need to wait until the employer is approved. There is higher engagement and settlement and integration by the employers. It has faster processing time, so if you're already working in the province as a temporary resident, you could qualify to become a permanent resident, and low labor market impact assessment is required. We are now only accepting applications online for the AIP, so employers must submit their applications through the AIP Immigration Accelerator portal. The first step is designation. So employers must download the application and indicate the job title, prevailing wage, NOC code, tier category, and number of positions required. Positions must be year-round full-time. Business must be in continuous active operation for the previous 2 years. Once they are designated, an endorsement application can be prepared and submitted. The foreign national will contact the service providing organization and request a need assessment to get a settlement plan. So once you have this and you have the settlement plan, the employer can fill out the endorsement application and identify the tier category of the job offer and the position description. Employers must ensure that the candidates have all their supporting documentation for the permanent residency, including language testing and education credential assessment. So once the employer is designated, they can then submit the endorsement application for you. And now we're going to talk about the different categories under the AIP. So as you can see, it's based on the job offer tier that you receive. So for the tier 0 job offer, you need a 1-year work experience in the tier category of 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the past 5 years and meet NOC employment requirements. The job offer has to be the same skill level or higher than your work experience. So it needs to be a full-time job offer in tier 0 occupation for at least 1 year from the time we receive your application. We need a minimum Canadian 1-year post-secondary certificate, diploma, or degree, or an ECA to show the same. And language testing is required with the CLB 5. And the employers need to be designated under the AIP and show recruitment efforts. If they're applying for you and you don't have a work permit, they would need to show how they could not fill the position locally. So for the tier 1 job offer, needs to be work experience in tier 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the past 5 years and meet NOC employment requirements. Job offer has to be in tier 1, again for a duration of 1 year from the time we receive the application, and the education requirement is the same as the tier 0, as well as the language testing and the employer as well. So that would be the same. For tier 2 and 3, it's a little different. So the work experience has to be for 1 year in a tier 2, 3, or 4 occupation in the past 5 years and meet NOC employment requirements. Full-time job offer in tier 2 or 3. And the education is where there's a difference, where we just need a minimum Canadian secondary certificate, diploma, or degree, or an ECA to show the same. However, language testing and the employment requirements remain the same. For tier 4, again, 1 year work experience in tier 4 occupation. There is an exemption in place for the healthcare sector, which means that, like I mentioned before, then the job offer has to be the same skill level or higher. So if you're in the healthcare sector and the job offer is at a lower skill level, then we can accept that. However, it does need to be a full-time permanent job offer in tier 4 occupation. Education is the same as the tier 2, 3 job offer with just a minimum of secondary certificate, degree or diploma, or an ECA to show the same. Language testing is a bit different, where we just need a CLB 4, and the employment requirements is the same. If you can see, there's an asterisk in the bottom right-hand corner as well as in the work experience column, which says that it's not required for international graduate from Atlantic Canada. So this only is for those international graduate who completed a minimum 2-year program from a recognized post-secondary institution. They would not require to show work experience. However, If you're applying from outside Canada and haven't studied in the Atlantic provinces, then you would need to show that 1 year experience, irrespective of the category, like we spoke about. So that was the AIP and the PNP. So we'll just do a bit of a comparison here to give you an understanding of the differences between the two programs. So that would help you in deciding which program you want to apply through. With the PNP, we accept job offers based on the category. So there's express entry, skilled worker, and international graduate, whereas the AIP, the category is based on the job offer itself. So there's tier 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. NLP&P, the labor marking must be completed by the employer prior to the candidate applying. So the employer will need to have the JVA for you before you apply, and it's only required if you don't have a work permit or authorization to work. AIP labor market testing is required in the endorsement application, again, if you do not have a work permit, and that is done at the designation stage. But also the employer will need to show their recruitment efforts at the endorsement stage. For PNP and ECA is only required for express entry applicants if they do not have a Canadian education, whereas AIP ECA is required irrespective of the category. Language testing is required based on the category and knock of the job offer for PNP, whereas AIP language testing is required for all candidates. PNP candidates must meet knockout employment requirements, which is the same for AIP. PNP and AIP, there is no processing fees provincially for the employer or candidates. And processing time for PNP varies from 8 to 16 months, depending on the category, whereas AIP, you're looking at approximately 6 months. So we now know that having a job is important, irrespective of which program you apply through. So here's some resources where you can find a job. First is the Canada Job Bank. So you can create a profile and be matched with employers in the region. So you can, search for jobs in the Newfoundland and Labrador and apply to those jobs. You can also apply to our jobs in our provincial government if you go to our website and create a profile there. And other methods are networking with employers, so hopefully you've done that today, and that's been helpful, but also continue searching on private job search websites like Career Beacon and Indeed, and also participate in upcoming fairs like you did today, so keep an eye out for other fairs as well. So that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I hope this information was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to email us at immigration@gov.nl.ca for AIP questions and pnp@gov.nl.ca for PNP questions. You can also find all this information on our website there. So yeah, I would be happy to answer any questions that you may have, but if we don't or are not able to get to them, please feel free to send us an email. Thank you so much.